Franklin Factor podcast. Today is a very exciting day. I'm here with Jasmine Philpott, one of our top producers here at the Franklin team, and we are going to dive in today about what a day in the life of a Franklin team agent, aka a top producer, looks like. And hang with us because it's not really what you expect. So before we get started, a few things about Jasmine. She joined the team in 2023, and she has been a top producer ever since joining. Last year, in 2025, she produced 43 closings, $11.5 million in volume. And this year, she has done 20 units so far and already $5 million. Total in her life of production here on the team, she's closed over 107 units for $26 million and going. And so she has a lot to share, a lot of wisdom, a lot of experience. And so I'm just really grateful that you're here, Jasmine.
Yeah, thanks for inviting me on.
Yeah.
I'm excited to share.
Yeah. So just quick before we get going into questions, I'd love for you to give the listeners a little bit of background of how did you get into real estate, like 30 seconds of what's your background and what brought you into real estate.
Yeah, so I actually started in the fitness industry, and once COVID hit, everything shut down, so I had to pivot. My husband and I started investing in real estate in 2020.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, after a couple years, he said, hey, why don't you get your license?
Yeah.
Find us the deals, save on commissions. And once I did that, it just took off from there.
Okay, awesome. Were you solo before, or were you on another team?
So I was solo. My very first year I was licensed, I was an independent agent.
Okay, got it. And you were licensed in 2022?
Yes.
Okay, so Jasmine, quick, since we're talking about the beginning, when you look at year one to where you are now, what difference do you see?
Oh my goodness. Well, in year one, I started, when I got licensed, I was 5 months pregnant.
Oh my goodness.
And I was a little hesitant to jump all in. But at the time, I had someone in my life who was encouraging me, motivating me, continuing to push me to, just go after it. And so I did. And, it was exactly what I thought it would be once the baby came. I was not motivated. I did not want to get out and meet people.
Yes, exactly.
And I just wanted to be home with my baby.
Yeah.
So that first year, I just told myself, I'm going to accept where I am in the business right now. And as long as I can close one transaction per month, I'm happy.
Okay.
And that's exactly what I did. But I didn't know at the time, I'm also needing a team, a support system, somebody or a group of folks to help guide me in this business. Because right now, all I really know is what I learned in the courses that I took.
Sure.
And just now being a mom, again, to a newborn. So how do I continue to grow in real estate and also continue still being, a really good mom and a really good wife?
I love what you said, because sometimes majority of the stories are independent agents get to a capacity level. Mm-hmm. And that's what kind of sparks I need the support. But you were really like, hey, I want to continue growing. And so with knowing you have a newborn and where you are in season of life, you more so kind of got to that point of looking for a team sooner than probably a lot of independent agents do. Which is very valid, coming off of being postpartum myself. Like, I'm so grateful that I have a team to help support me. So very cool. Okay, so tell the listeners, can you describe your business? Like, are you mostly buyers? Are you mostly sellers? What does your pipeline look like right now so they understand kind of what your business looks like?
Yeah, so I would say I'm mostly sellers. When I first started in real estate, I was taking on everything, but I knew in my mind I wanted to be a listing agent. And the reason being is because being a listing agent gives me back time to be present with my girls. And I'll probably keep referring to that, but that's really number one for me.
Yeah.
And by year two, I was able to accomplish that, where I did 60% listings, 40% buyers. And this year it's really taken off to where I'm seeing now I have 13 listings, 2 coming soon. In my pipeline, I have 4 active buyers. And then in the second half of the year, or Q4, I should have about 5 more listings that I already have in the pipeline.
Wow, that's incredible. Can you tell us a little bit about the support and what your business structure looks like? Like, do you have a personal assistant? Do you have a VA? Obviously, I know what the team does, but remind the listeners kind of like, if I'm hearing that as a listener, like, whoa, 13 listings plus 2 coming soon, I'm going, I just had 4 and I was stressed out. And so 13 sounds overwhelming.
Yeah, this year I knew that I needed to leverage. And with that, I didn't know what that meant. And so I looked to other successful real estate agents in the Franklin Team Collaboration Group and what they were doing. And most of them were speaking about virtual assistants. I would love it. I would love to get to the level of having a live assistant in office with me. But
Yes.
I did hire a virtual assistant who has been amazing.
Awesome.
She really hit the ground running. And the good thing about her is that she only works with me. So I know
Okay.
some virtual assistants will work with multiple agents to support their business, but she's only working with me, only learning my business, my way of communicating,
Yeah.
my way of marketing. And so that has been a very big help for me this year.
Yeah, I mean, she can really focus on how do you operate? How do you want your clients to feel? How do you say things and do things? That's
Exactly.
great. Well, I love that we've already talked about your mom. You have two beautiful little girls. You're married. Y'all have family in town and out of town that I know of. And so I think that's important to just give context, because all of us have priorities outside of work. All of us have relationships outside of work. And it can become a very trying part of this industry of balancing or giving presents to your kids or giving presents to your partner or giving presents to important people outside of the business, because our clients are everything. And this business typically never stops,
Yes.
especially if you're on vacation. It just always seems to happen. So what I want to do now is I want to focus on kind of like your daily routine. I want you to be completely honest and raw. Like, I think sometimes people are looking for like, ooh, what does Jasmine do? Like, she's going to have a secret. Sometimes I really think the genuineness of like, yeah, my mornings look crazy. And sometimes I can't catch my breath. That's the reality of what high business performers are walking through. And so I do want to speak to strategically, what are some of the things that you do, but walk us through like, what does your average day look like in the morning? What do you try to accomplish first? What's top priority? Walk us through kind of that mindset.
With my girls, I do have one that is school aged. And so during the school year, we're waking up at 6 a.m. to get ready for school.
That's right. They have an early drop off, right?
Yes, 7:15.
Oh my gosh.
Oh my goodness. So that, she just finished up kindergarten. So that was a big shift for me in my business, and also just at home having to now, instead of 8 a.m. wake up call, now we're waking up at 6 a.m. We're getting into our routine a lot earlier in the morning, and it just felt like we were able to accomplish more during the day.
Sure.
So now that it's summertime, now we're sleeping into about 7 a.m.
That's nice.
And that's because the girls have a natural clock, and they're
Yeah.
coming to wake us up at 7 a.m. But the first thing we do, of course, is we just focus on them. I don't try to check my phone as soon as I get up. I try to wake myself up. I stretch. I brush my teeth, wash my face, get my girls ready, start preparing breakfast, and just engage with them over the breakfast table. Once they are rounding up, putting their shoes on, getting ready to go to their summer camp, that's where I start checking my messages, looking at emails, just preparing my mind of here's what you're going to have to do in the next couple hours. Because the next thing I do once I drop them off is I go to the gym. That really helps me get energy for the day, and just if I don't work out in the morning, I probably will not work out. That has been
So true.
something that's helped my mental health through the stress of the industry, but also just allowing me to stay connected and self-aware of who I am and what my goals are in all aspects of life.
I love that you can do that, because I will be completely transparent. I say I want to do that, and I know that that's the most important thing, is not merging my worlds all at once at 6 a.m. when I wake up. Mm-hmm. But it is such a habit to get up, check my email, check my text message, check the CRM, check Slack.
Yeah.
And then I'm bombarded in my mind, and my mind then goes elsewhere when I'm then trying to converse with my children and my husband in the day. I feel already defeated.
Yeah.
And so let me ask you this. If you are checking your phone or you see like an urgent text from a client,
Yeah.
and you're still in the midst of that routine, what do you do? Do you handle that, or do you still just set expectations of I'll handle it later?
So that's a really good question. I guess it will depend on the urgency. So if it's something like, for example, I did have a listing that was actively flooding, a pipe
Oh my
burst,
goodness,
and the
yes.
home was vacant, so that was an emergency. If it's something as to, let's say, getting an amendment signed or something that just needs a signature that can wait another 30 to 45 minutes, it's urgent, yes, but it's not that urgent.
Yeah.
So I have to really just weigh the urgency.
Where does that inner discipline come from?
Yeah.
Maybe your background, because you've come from the gym. I find that people that's a part of their lifestyle is health and physical fitness. I do tend to see a lot of discipline in those people. And so I'm sitting here going, oh my gosh, I need that discipline. But I think that's so well said, Jasmine.
Yeah.
It's awesome.
And I also just, with experience, you can see 107 units is 107 different types of personalities, types of transactions, challenges, successes, like a lot of things you experience. And over the years, I have just continued to try to train myself to set these boundaries with clients, with work, at home, with myself, with my kids, with my husband, so that I don't burn out and I don't quit, because I'm never going to quit. But I think that once you burn out, it's just trying to not to do that and avoid setting the wrong expectations for the business that I want to grow, is really important by doing little things like that.
So good. What does your lead generation and prospecting look like? Because I know that a lot of your business is Sphere, past clients, referrals, family, friends, because you're a freaking rock star. And so once people work with you, they're going to for sure go, Jasmine, Jasmine, Jasmine. But at this point in your business, can you talk a little bit about how is lead generation built into your schedule? What does that look like? How does that happen? Are you doing that? Is prospecting a part of it?
100% of the time. Even when I am off the clock, I'm lead generating by having conversations about real estate. Everybody knows I'm a real estate agent because I am present on social media.
Tell the listeners where they can follow you.
You can follow me at Jasmine Philpott _HTX on Instagram or Facebook.
She has fabulous content, so check her out.
Thank you.
Yes.
So my sphere is actually on the West Coast.
Okay.
My husband is from Houston. We moved here to be closer to my in-laws, raising our children, and also he wanted to come back home. And so before moving to Texas, I think I had visited Dallas a few times and maybe San Antonio once, and the thought of moving to Austin just sounded interesting. I said, yeah, I would love to explore Austin. It seems very similar to where I'm from in the Bay Area. And he was transitioning from there to Texas with his tech company. And then during COVID, we were able to move while he was able to go work from home. So I didn't really have a sphere when starting real estate. When I got licensed in 2022, I relied on my in-laws to help spread my name around. And also, he's really good at also promoting me.
Yeah.
And so he's part of a fraternity. He is part of Texas A&M Aggies network as well.
Yes.
And so he would just always encourage his friends and family members to utilize me or refer me to their friends and family and coworkers. And so that really was year one, was working with maybe 30% strangers and 70% people who knew my husband. And then year two, I would say joining the Franklin team really helped me grow in a sense of lead generating with the database that y'all have. Over 60,000 people in your database that the agents have access to be able to reconnect with is amazing. And as long as you put in the work and the time and say the right things, there's no telling, which one you're going to connect with. But that took off, and now what I do is I'm seeing a lot, which I love what the Franklin team does, is you can transact with a team-given lead, and once that team-given lead is closed, it now becomes your past client.
We had a conversation, I don't know if you remember, last year I was pregnant, we were over at Whiskey Cake having lunch, and you said, the first couple years on the team, it was a lot of leads from the team.
Yeah.
But at that point, at your 2-year mark, it really started turning into past client from the team, past client from that closed transaction, and they were referring people. And so I love that what you said is that you're not hard pounding the phone 2 hours a day, an hour a day. It's not budgeted in a certain time block. Your presence is, I am a realtor.
Yeah.
And so every conversation I have, my presence, how I add value to people, what I converse with about, you turn it into just who you are as a whole and not keep it so, I have to do my prospecting and I have to do lead generation. It has to look like an open house. It has to look like this. It's really just, it's a team effort too with Arthur being like, hey guys, my wife, use her. So I love that. So,
well, I will say that I do still prospect and I do still sit on the phones and I do call. And that is because it keeps me focused on the business. If I am not spending at least an hour to 2 hours, let's say every few days, on the phones, I get away from being on the phone because you're talking to people all the time, that it's very easy to fall into a habit of not wanting to call, maybe just texting and email. But I honestly believe that that voice-to-voice connection can make a huge difference between getting the lead, keeping the lead, and closing the lead.
I don't know if everyone heard that, but let's just repeat that. 26 million, over 100 units closed, and she still is prospecting and still seeking to grow on the phone. Because, like you said, if you don't continue the habit, you will fall out of it and you will lose it if you don't use it.
Exactly.
Oh my gosh, that's great. Okay, let's talk about this. When the unexpected hits, a deal falls apart, a client calls in crisis, something blows up, what's your reset? How do you not let it derail you in your day?
Well, that's a hard one because I am very empathetic. I'm very connected with my clients, and their experience does have an effect on me. I'm learning to maybe stray away from that, but I don't know if I ever will. If a deal falls apart, or let's say something doesn't go in the client's way, my client's way, the very first thing I try to do is have the conversation professionally with the client and get a feel for how they're reacting and responding. If I'm in a position to help comfort them, that brings me comfort. So I know sometimes clients will be upset, or they'll be sad, or frustrated, and if I can find the words or the data to support them feeling better about what just happened, and they're okay by the time we hang up the phone, that helps me feel better. And then I go for a walk.
I want to say this. I feel like I've been in real estate for 12 years. Most of my time in real estate has been a lot on the coaching, developing, training, leadership side. What I think speaks so highly or speaks so loudly that makes you different, that makes top agents different, is the people aspect, the relationship piece. It's great to know when your day or when this happens, Jasmine, what do you do? What are the systems? But ultimately, it comes down to delivery of expectations. It's about reading people. It's about understanding how to provide next steps. Because I think a lot of agents struggle, and there's not a lot of people that can truly be empathetic, or that can have a relationship with somebody that can deliver bad news, but make it feel not like the world's ending or this is blowing up in our face. So I think you do that so well. And so I wanted to compliment you on saying that, because I think a lot of people look at the task-oriented thing of what's the system, what's the process, what do we do next? And they forget the people aspect of like, hey, let me see how they're feeling. I could be jumping off the cliff and they could be like, yeah, cool, whatever.
Yeah.
I find that typically happens. Sometimes I jump emotionally, and then I call my client. My client's like, no big deal. I'm like, oh, okay, we're cool. I'll get back on the cliff,
Right.
So, okay, well, talk to me about kind of your week. And when do you do appointments? When do you do showings? When do you do admin? Like, can you just give the listeners a little bit of like perspective of, do you try and keep it structured, or is it kind of just whenever?
To be honest, it's just whenever.
Okay.
But what I will say is lately, probably within the last 6 months, I've tried to find myself making a dedicated off day. It's not fully off because I'm still checking emails and messages and responding.
Always.
But a day to be able to relax and do more things that I want to do, or errands for the family, because we know that real estate is 100% always on the weekends. And so to think that I'm going to have the weekends off is not realistic. So my off days usually are either a Tuesday or a Thursday during the week. That's when I try to limit my showing schedule, sitting on the computer for too long, answering the phones if I don't have to. And that's time that I can get back to myself. But what I will say is that Mondays are really the days that I create my schedule for the week. Okay. And I know some people can plan the week before or the month before, and they like to have everything planned out and time blocked. My Mondays are when I'm scheduling showings with those leads that I'm trying to see for the week. My Mondays are when I'm scheduling, hey, which days am I going to actually be able to make it to the gym, and which days do I have to show up to inspections? And so Mondays really dictate how the rest of the week goes, including weekends. Sundays are a little bit lighter. I'm noticing as majority listings that maybe most agents are now not being as I need this or I want this on Sundays for other agents, but I've seen that Sundays have been lighter lately. That could change at any time. So yeah, I would just say it's all over the place. It really depends on how things come to me on that Monday, on how the rest of the week is going to go.
I love it, though. You do have a plan, but you essentially kind of focus and figure out that plan on Mondays.
Yes.
So it's not really, you're not flying by the seat of your pants, but we all know it. You have to be fluid in this business, because you could get $1 million cash deal that's like, hey, can you go show me this house? And it's like, yeah, absolutely. What day and time? So,
right.
Talk a little bit about your day end. So do you have a shutdown routine? Are you checking emails until 10 o'clock? Some people are night owls. Some people, like me, are not. And I have to shut it off at 8 o'clock. So can you talk to us a little bit about what does your shutdown process look like?
Yeah, and I think speaking to you and other leadership last year when I did 43 units, I think that I was not as organized in shutting it down or having an off day or dedicated off time that I wanted to schedule for myself. And that's why this year has really shifted me in my business. But I will say that I do try to, we pick up our girls around between 4:30 and 5. They may have some sport or activity right after that for a 30 to 45 minute time period. And then we sit down for dinner, and then it's wind down time. So between 4:30 to 7:30, if it's not urgent, I am off of my phone. I'm not answering calls. Again, just trying to be present with my family. And then if by 7:30 they're in bed and I check and there's an email that needs to be responded to or a text or a call, that's when I'm making that call is 7:30. But I really try not to work past, I would say 9 is my
And most people
time.
are also wrapping down.
Exactly.
You know, sometimes if I'm working late, like my husband travels, and so a couple nights this week I was doing emails and admin late at night because it was calm, the kids were down, like that's one thing. But I agree, like I don't ever have clients that are expecting something unless it's like, oh my goodness, we may not be closing tomorrow, the buyer, it's all this crazy stuff. So quick question, so when you're doing meals or the 4:30 to 7:30 period, that's not every night. I just want to make sure, I would assume like that's your goal and that's the intention. But if you do have clients or if you do have a listing appointment, that's at 5 o'clock. I assume Arthur is also helping out and like you're finding a different plan for the girls. You're not turning down business for that.
Exactly. Okay. Exactly. And I, to be honest, really try to structure my clientele to the clients that are available to show like in the mornings, during the week. For me, I've learned that I don't like driving on Houston freeways during rush hour.
Yep.
So having to go to the city after 5, that's a lead that I'm probably going to pass off to somebody.
Wow.
I can drive to the city. I would love to. Can you do it in the morning? Can we do it on the weekend? If it needs to be after work, I have a great colleague that can assist you.
Wow.
And so I'm okay with that because I know me and I don't want to stress myself out or give the client a bad experience because I'm frustrated driving in rush hour and I know that's bringing me anxiety. But let's say, I have a showing in Fulshire and Katy, somewhere close by where I'm comfortable driving to, even at 5:30, 6:30. I had a showing maybe a couple weeks ago at 7:30 in Fulshire, and my husband was totally okay with that. It's just a conversation, planning ahead. Hey, I have a showing later.
Yeah.
It doesn't happen all the time, so that's
Yes.
why it's okay to do that.
I think I just want to like air hug you. Like, you guys, I've known Jasmine since she's joined the team, and just to hear your professionalism and your security in who you are and what value you bring to your clients, and just recognizing like every lead may not be the business for you.
Yeah.
And you may not be the right fit agent for them. However, you do have to bend some rules and be flexible and be fluid, but at the sake of what, right? And
Yeah.
so you have grown your business and you have hustled and worked your tail off to get to this place, to now be in a position 3+ years later of, hey, I have a great colleague. And that's a beautiful part of being on the team, you guys. So I did want to ask you, because I'm talking about just how I've seen you grow in your confidence. Talk to me a little bit about, how did you get here and what did that look like? Because as you've mentioned, new agents sometimes don't always just start with that. And there's a lot of agents that get into this business, and when you're talking to strangers, and you didn't have a sphere getting into this business, like where you were to where you are now. Can you speak to that at all?
Yeah, so my very first year when I was an independent agent, like I had mentioned, I was pregnant, then I eventually had a newborn, so I wasn't motivated to get out and meet new people. The great thing about where I was is I was a part of a training group, and those were my people that I could rely on and reach out to and say, hey, let's go look at some model homes together with this small group of people. And what I realized is that now that we're under the same brokerage, I didn't know these people beforehand, and the comfort that I have with them will be the same when I start meeting leads and I start interacting with clients, future clients that I don't know. It's really a mindset of where you want to go with this business that allows you to have that comfort and really listening to the client. When you learn to listen to strangers or clients or leads or past clients, you can then really connect with them to make sure that they are always going to be a part of your business, or they're going to refer people that are going to be a part of your business. So year one, I just told, I am actually still friends with my very first client.
That's awesome.
We just put them in another home maybe about a week ago, and I said, hey, did you guys know that you guys were my very first clients?
That's crazy.
And the funny part about it is I remember I didn't know how to open the Supra. Like, they didn't train us that there was a lockbox underneath to push up on. So
Fair.
I'm like,
I had the same question, girl.
and so and it was in the middle of June, I think, or, when it was hot outside, and I was 5 months pregnant and struggling with the Supra for a good 15 minutes. I finally called our agent in office, and he shared how to open the Supra, and it was good. But I told her the other day, I said, hey, did you know that you guys were my very first clients? And remember when I struggled with the Supra? And she said, I would have never known.
Awesome.
You were so professional. Everything was great. We love that we were able to meet you and continue to work with you. Thinking back to being a new agent, or just giving some advice with new agents, is that really it's about how much you listen to a person and then connect with them by what they're telling you. You don't have to know every single thing about a person, their background, their family history, anything like that, to be able to help somebody. And I think that's the biggest thing that I took away from year one to now year 4, just being able to talk to anybody when it comes to real estate. Yeah.
I love that. I'm going to probably just rapid fire with you some quick questions. Okay. And then we'll wrap up. So what's one habit or non-negotiable in your day that you think other agents either skip or underestimate?
Phone calls.
Love it.
Voice-to-voice connection.
What has been the hardest season in your business?
Say beginning of 2024. Okay. It was just a lot of personal challenges happening, but I guess the pro to that, it allowed me to really focus 100% into my business that year.
Biggest time waster in real estate?
Oh, don't get mad at me for this, but I think going to model home events.
I'm not mad about it. I'm not mad about it.
No, one or two are good. I think a month to learn the communities and know what's coming and price point, but all of them,
Yeah,
I
it's a
can't
lot.
do it.
Best piece of advice you ever got for real estate?
I would say, and I don't think anyone's ever given me this advice, but it's something I tell myself even when the days are hard, don't quit.
Every deal that I've always felt like this is the hardest. There's always been a harder one.
Yeah.
But it always gets itself worked out.
Yeah.
And if it doesn't, life still happens.
Right.
Thank you so much for joining us, Jasmine. Tell the listeners again one more time where they can follow you. What's your handle? Jasmine Philpott dot or underscore?
Underscore HTX.
HTX. Check her out, you guys. Again, just what valuable information. I love just kind of your confidence that you exude, but also your professionalism. You're so elegant when you speak. You're very much so a people person. And I think you also take each client for who they are, and you don't try and push them to be the same client as you're working with over here. And so I've just seen you grow and be a leader on our team. And so it's a pleasure speaking with you today. So thank you.
Thanks for having me. This was fun.
Yes. And for those of you listening, we have the show notes down below. Make sure you check us out. Also, if you're interested in joining the Franklin team, please check out our informational that we host here in Katy, free an hour session for you to come get to know us, ask questions, learn about our splits, our commission, our team, how we're structured. Anything and everything you want to know, sign up in the link below. And last but not least, we are asking you guys, the audience, to ask us anything. Sarah and I, at the end of the season, are going to be asking all of your crazy real estate questions. Maybe it's about motivation or how to handle a crazy client or a big win or a specific question or strategy on how to improve. Anything you want to ask, everything's anonymous, but check out the link below and make sure you like, subscribe, and share this episode. Thanks so much.
And I will say, if you're willing to do the work, they have all the systems to make sure that your business is successful. Come to the Franklin team.
You heard it from Jasmine.